School districts across America just got put on notice, and President Trump dropped a bombshell announcement that could cost liberal schools millions of dollars in federal funding. We're talking about districts that have been quietly blocking something students have a constitutional right to do. And this isn't about forcing anyone to do anything, but about protecting freedoms that have been under attack in our classrooms for decades. And the Department of Education is about to issue new guidelines that could completely reshape how schools handle religious expression. And here's the kicker, guys. Schools that don't comply, they're going to lose federal dollars entirely. We're talking about over $80 billion in education funding nationwide that could be at stake. And what they're hiding, it's going to shock you. The systematic suppression of faith in our schools has gone too far, and now there are real consequences coming. Finally, I voted for this. I've been wanting this. Kids need God in their life. You see the consequences every day. You all know what I'm talking about. So my name's Tom. I'm with the Daily Beltway. I'm also publisher of the Illinois Review and a White House correspondent for the Next News Network. And guys, we're a growing channel, and every like, comment, and subscription helps us grow. And I want to cut right to it. It's President Trump speaking at the Museum of the Bible about religious freedoms in school, and he knocks it out of the park. And they also bring up a kid on stage, and he speaks, and just watch how he presents. Imagine the amount of courage that that kid had to have to stand there and deliver his message in front of the world. Watch.
But America was founded on faith, as we know, and I've been saying it for a long time. And when faith gets weaker, our country seems to get weaker. When faith gets stronger, as it is right now, we're having a very good period of time. After some rough years, good things happen for our country. It's amazing the way it seems to work that way. And under the Trump administration, we're defending our rights and restoring our identity as a nation under God. We are one nation under God, and we always will be.
Watch his courage. He's going to talk about some things that I'm sure the algorithm on these liberal platforms don't like, but you know, you guys know where I'm at.
Hi, I'm Shane Cetus. I've been a Christian my whole life, and Jesus means everything to me. When I was in 5th grade, my school forced me to teach my kindergarten buddy about changing his gender using a book called My Shadow is Pink. The book said you can choose your gender based on feelings instead of how God made us. I knew this was not right, but I was afraid of getting in trouble. After my family spoke up, the school treated us badly, and kids started bullying me and my brother because of our faith. And the school did nothing to stop it. It hurt a lot, but I kept trusting God. I believe kids like me should be able to live our faith at school without being forced to go against what we believe. I hope no other family has to go through what mine did. Thank you.
He stood on business and delivered that without stuttering, without freaking out. Only like I think most kids can do. They don't understand, like, there's tens of millions of people talking about it. We're going to get snipped. It's pretty incredible. So here's what happened. So speaking at the Museum of the Bible in Washington, D.C., President Trump announced that the Department of Education will soon issue new guidance explicitly protecting the right to pray in public schools. But here's where it gets serious, folks. Schools and districts that interfere with students' or teachers' constitutional rights to religious expression could face the loss of federal funding. And this isn't some symbolic gesture. We're talking about real money. Federal education funding totals over $80 billion annually. And for cash-strapped districts nationwide, losing federal dollars could be devastating. And that means some low-income districts rely on federal funds for up to 20% of their budgets. And the announcement builds on the Supreme Court's decision, which is Kennedy versus Bremerton from 2022. That case ruled 6-3 that a high school football coach's prayer on the field were protected private speech and not a government endorsement. And Justice Neil Gorsuch wrote that the Constitution neither mandates nor permits the government to suppress religious expression. And that means pray to whoever you want to pray to. If it's God, if it's Allah, if it's Yahweh, if it's whoever, that's your God. Pray to them. You should have the right to do so when the time dictates. If your prayer time is at a certain time every day, you should be allowed to do so. And nobody should be able to tell you can't do that. And Trump made it crystal clear where his administration stands on that. The guidelines will ensure students and staff can engage in voluntary prayer without the fear of reprisal, as it should be. You guys know the consequences of these children not having God or a structured set of something in their lives, like, you know, code of ethics that tells them that it's okay to run around and pew people. You see the consequences. I don't need to show you. Just go, X for 5 minutes. You'll see the videos that are consequences of this. And Trump also warned that any school or district found infringing on these rights would risk or will lose federal dollars. So what's driving this policy? And it's stories like the 12-year-old boy who spoke at the event. This young Christian faced bullying after his family challenged problematic curriculum at his school. After his family spoke up, the school threatened them. I've had issues with that. You guys, I'm sure people watching have seen those things where you want your child to feel a certain way, you pull them out, you stick them in a different school because of how the district is handling things. These are the real consequences that we are all facing when we stand up for our faith or our belief system. But it's all changing. The threat of withholding federal funds introduces an enforcement mechanism we have not seen before. Federal law prohibits discrimination based on religion, but tying in a compliance to funding is a significant escalation. And there's critics already going nuts. The ACLU issued a statement warning the policy could violate the Establishment Clause. Legitimate concern, but not enforceable. And governors like, liberal Governor Gavin Newsom in California, they vowed to resist, potentially setting up another federal versus state clash. But here's what they don't want you to know. A 2024 Pew survey found 58% of Americans support student-led prayer in schools. And this isn't a fringe position. It's mainstream America. So what does this mean for parents and students? It means schools can no longer suppress voluntary religious expression without consequences. Prayer groups, religious discussion during free time, and faith-based activities get protection. And if you have to pray at 11 a.m., you can pray. So if you guys got value from this news update, please tap subscribe. I have a final thought on this. I'm pretty sure you know where I'm at. In my opinion, this announcement represents something much bigger than school policy. For decades, we've watched faith be systematically removed from our schools and our public institutions under the false banner of separation of church and state. And the founders never intended for government to be hostile towards religion. They intended for government to stay out of religion's way. Look at the Bill of Rights, it's in there. When Trump announced today that about restoring balance, students shouldn't have to hide their faith or check their beliefs at the schoolhouse door. And teachers shouldn't fear disciplinary action for acknowledging their religious convictions. This policy protects voluntary expression while maintaining constitutional boundaries. No one is forcing prayer on anybody, but no one should be preventing it either. And when schools suppress religious freedom, they're suppressing the very values that built our country, this republic. The strength of America has always been rooted in the faith of her people. And it's time that our schools and those who lead the schools remember that. God bless.